Hi everybody and welcome back to our channel. If you haven't seen it already, I completed a 12 to 13 part Reddit reaction series where I basically looked at and critiqued or offered my perspective on people's mixed relationships. It is high time that I share a look into what my mixed relationship is like. The reason that I say Alex and I are in a mixed everything relationship is because almost every single thing that you could have a difference in, we have it. He is 46 years old. I am 36 years old. I am from the United States. Alex is from Peru. I am a Black American, whereas my husband, I don't know exactly what my husband has going on in his gene pool, but you can tell based on some of his features that he does have indigenous ancestry in him. And he doesn't identify as Black, at least when he's being serious. I am fluent in Spanish, and my whole career and life revolves around the language, but I still don't speak Spanish on the level of a native speaker. Alex is a native Spanish speaker, so we still do have miscommunications based on language in our relationship. Our relationship, if I had to divide it up into a pie, I would say right now we speak about 70% English and 30% Spanish to each other. In the first 3 years of our relationship, however, that was not the case. We communicated in Spanish about 90% of the time. Alex told me when we got married and we moved in together that he wanted me to speak mostly English to him. And so that's what we have been doing. When we're having a serious conversation, financial or health related or whatever, we only communicate in Spanish because I need to make sure that he understands me. And of course, I'm going to understand him. I have refused to teach my husband English. In the past, when I've dated people that were Spanish speaking only, or that had this idea of, oh, I would love to learn English, I learned really quickly they wanted free lessons. It's very hard for you to balance being in a romantic relationship with somebody and also teaching them, especially because I am a strict teacher. I have to step out of who I am as a partner and step into this role of a really hard-nosed teacher. And my student, aka my partner, doesn't take well to that. So they would either start laughing and treat it like a joke, or they would get argumentative with me because I maybe said something they didn't like. And it's just, and I'm not getting paid for it. It's too much of a headache. So I have decided that if Alex wants to learn English, there are plenty of avenues for him to do it. He does not get to learn it from me for free. The biggest and most annoying thing that happens, people assume we're not together. For example, it's happened a couple of times in front of his kids where I'm standing with them and we're either checking out or buying something or going into somewhere together, and people will be like, oh, you're together? Or they will make a big deal out of the fact that they didn't know that we were a family. If you see two people together holding hands, if I'm talking to my stepchildren, why would you just assume? I don't understand. I don't understand. The hardest part about navigating our differences is that there's always something else to navigate. So we may think that we've got like the interracial part down, but then we've got the language barrier that we're always dealing with, or maybe something comes up, and even just trying to get to the root of why we reacted a certain way can be a bit of a trip as well. I also think that it's beneficial though, because we aren't just one thing. Like, we're not just an interracial couple, we're not just an age gap couple. We can't just take an issue and pigeonhole it like, oh, you don't understand me because you're not Latina, or you don't understand me because you're 10 years older than me, right? There's so much else that we need to communicate about and get into in order to resolve the issue. So I'm gonna say I didn't underestimate anything. My husband, though, if you ask him if he thought this way, he will most likely tell you no. But I think that he assumed things were going to be easy, not just because we spoke the same language and I understand his culture, but also because we have this umbrella of shared faith that is over everything else that we do. Worse. Not only that, but when I met Alex, he had been single, I think 5 to 7 years at that point, and I have been single for 2 years. I think any of us that have been single for an extended period of time have experienced what it's like to kind of get comfortable with our way of doing things, right? And I think that because Alex is older than me as well, I don't think he is crotchety. But there are a lot of things that my generation sees as normal that his is like, why do you do that? That's so weird. If you're interested in learning more about how we handle conflicts, I'm actually going to create a video that's solely based on that, and we'll talk more about arguments and those kinds of things in that video. This is a really interesting question because I don't think that there's anything that he and I overtly do to incorporate our cultures into everyday life. Part of that is probably my husband is very Americanized. There are a lot of things he's just grown to love or adopt about the United States that other people that have recently arrived to the country may still struggle with. I'm excited to see actually how we address this question moving forward because this is our first year of marriage. It's our first year living together. But in more practical ways, one of the things that we have done to combine cultures is through food. I don't know that we've ever had a mess up that we laugh about. There is one particular instance where I thought that I was surprising Alex when I was dating him, and he did not take it well, and it just ruined the holiday for the two of us. If you're interested in seeing those videos, they are these two, and I will link them down in the description below. I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. There's always something to learn in the relationship that we have. There's always a way to try and communicate more effectively with the person. You have no choice but to be patient. One of the questions that this relationship has definitely encouraged me to incorporate into regular conversation is, can you tell me more about that? In this relationship where we're so different, I can't just say because I don't understand why my husband has a specific belief or why my husband celebrates a specific holiday. I can't just say, well, that's stupid, right? I have to figure out where that's coming from. I've learned to ask open-ended questions instead of just shutting something down when I don't understand it. That's my biggest takeaway. Definitely patience, definitely a willingness to learn instead of taking on the subject matter expert role all the time. A willingness to share and compromise is huge, and you have to be open to things being done differently. I've said it before, I'll say it again until I'm blue in the face. I highly recommend counseling. I highly recommend a premarital or a marital counselor that has experience with your culture and your partner's culture, or speaks both your language and your partner's language. And y'all, that is what I have to share with you today. I hope that you found it useful, or if there are any additional questions that you have about this mixed everything dynamic, feel free to drop those questions in the comments. As we always say on our channel, with God, all things are possible, and I will see you next week. Take care.